Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my social studies class. Of course, you know this is your teacher, Mr. Clark. Now, I haven't done a video for quite a while now. I've been very busy. However, some students reached out to me over the weekend to request that I do a video relating to answering to those questions that they normally find problematic, right? Those questions that usually require them to come up with strategies first of all, and also justify the reasons why their strategy is likely to be successful, right? So those are usually the questions that give students the most problem on the CSEC exam in social studies. When you have to think of a strategy to address a problem, and then after that you have to justify your strategy, explain exactly why your strategy is likely to be successful, right? Now, personally, I believe that the best way to approach these questions is to think of a strategy. Think of a very good strategy, right? Your strategy is like your plan, right? So think of a plan on how you're going to address the particular problem. Most times the problem has to do with, addressing an issue or encouraging a behavior, or assisting somebody to do something, or encouraging a process or so on and so forth. Right, so the best thing that you can do is to come up with a workable plan first of all, right? After you have come up with your strategy or your plan, then the next thing that I would advise you to do is to choose a suitable platform through which you will execute your plan, right? Choose a suitable platform as you are seeing on my screen here. And then of course you put the strategy and the platform together, and you try to write your strategy in a clear and precise manner, right? So in this case, the first strategy that I have come up with is education. And I have always told my students that education is almost what I would describe as a universal strategy. Education usually addresses most problems that you will see in social studies, right? So educating persons to encourage or prevent a behavior, right? So if the question requires you to address a problem, address a behavior in terms of encouraging that behavior or preventing it, then you can look to education as a suitable strategy, right? Now, after you have written down your strategy, the next thing to do is to select or choose a suitable platform. How am I going to execute this plan? Am I going to include it in the school's curriculum? Am I going to try to educate people through social media? So I've come up with some ideas of platforms that you can use that are compatible with education, right? So you can choose social media, television ads and programs, school curriculum, apps and posters. So right, so you can basically execute your plan through any one of these mediums, right? Any one of these platforms can be used along with education to formulate a proper strategy, right? So all that is left for you to do now is to put them together, right? So I have given you an example over here. Educating citizens by creating social media websites and posting information weekly, right? So basically, if you notice, I have highlighted that sentence. I have highlighted different parts of it in different color codes, right? So educating citizens, education being the strategy, by creating social media websites being the chosen platform in this case, right? Posting information weekly. So basically, you're giving additional information because usually they say giving clear details or full details, so you're basically giving details as to how you are going to implement your strategy, right? So that is basically an idea, giving you an idea of how you can write your strategy. In terms of the justification, what I normally encourage students to do is to focus on the advantages of the strategy itself and the advantages of the platform or the medium that you have chosen, right? When you do that, then you will have enough information to write, because that is part of the problems that students face. They tend to believe that they will not have enough information to write in the justification, right? But once your strategy is written out clearly and you have a plan, you have a medium, and you have a method of implementing that plan, then of course you can focus on those three areas to come up with three meaningful justifications. All right, so here we go. I have highlighted the first part when you focus on the strategy itself in red, and then of course when you focus on the advantages of the medium or the platform, that section is in black right here on the screen. Right, so the first part, educating citizens is likely to be successful because education usually results in a change in behavior. Citizens will therefore display the desired behavior after being educated. Of course, you will need to put in the specifics of what the question is asking, right? But this is an example of how you can use education and focus on the advantages of education itself as a strategy to answer, to give your first justification, right? The second part of the justification will now focus on the platform or the medium through which the strategy will be implemented. This strategy is also likely to be successful because social media has the potential to bring the message to a large number of persons in a short space of time, right? So if you notice, we're now focusing on social media, the platform that we have chosen to execute our plan or our strategy, right? This will increase the number of persons that will display the desired behavior in a short space of time. So here we are telling one advantage of using social media as a strategy or as a part of the strategy, right? So that in itself will give you the second reason why your strategy is likely to be successful. In terms of the third reason now, we are focused on another advantage of social media, right? Issuing weekly posts will ensure that persons remain engaged to the issue being promoted, right? So we're focusing on that last part of the strategy where we said that we would basically issue weekly posts, right? So what we're saying here is that when you issue weekly posts, it is likely to keep persons engaged, right? Also, information on social media can be shared and stored easily. So this is another advantage of using social media, ensuring that message is continuous and has the potential to reach a very large group, right? So the fact that social media has features which you can store the message and share the messages, it basically ensures that the message is able to reach a large number of persons, and the message will be there throughout time so that other people can see it, right? So even if you did not go on social media today or next week, you are still able to see the message because it can be stored, right? And it can be shared from one person to another. All right, so I've given you some ideas of additional strategies that you can use in your CSEC exam. Number 2, developing laws and rules and sanctions to prevent or promote a behavior, right? So again, laws and rules are usually used for those questions that require you to promote or discourage a behavior, right? And some of the platforms that you can use for this particular strategy, community signs or posters, right? You can always display laws and rules on posters or community signs. Political meetings and budget presentations, right? Politicians are always coming up with new laws and issuing them to the public and so on and so forth. Websites, of course, a very useful platform to basically implement such as a strategy. Newspapers, group meetings, all of these platforms can be used to execute your plan of highlighting laws or rules. All right. So that is your second strategy, along with suitable platforms. The third strategy that you can use in social studies, forming partnership to get or render assistance. Right. So any question that requires you to come up with a strategy for you to get assistance for a person or a group, to render some form of assistance, then you can use this strategy, forming partnership. Right now, the platforms that I have come up with for this particular strategy, advertising products and programs. Of course, when you want to get assistance, one of the best way to do or to render assistance, one of the best things to do is to advertise your programs and your products, right? Entering into bilateral and multilateral agreements, again, agreements, of course, will enable some form of assistance, right? Because it's a partnership. Encouraging investors, maybe local investors, maybe foreign investors, any form of investor that will form partnership to render assistance. Yeah. So the last platform that I have right here is subsidizing the cost of goods and services, right? Usually this is a partnership between government and a group or a person, right? So government usually subsidize products or services, meaning that they actually pay a part of a particular product or service to ensure that the burden is lessened on the person or the group. So basically, these are the platforms that I have come up with that I see as suitable platforms that could go with the strategy of forming partnership. Right? So these are just a few strategies, ladies and gentlemen. You can always come up with more, and I think it's a good idea to really think of some strategies that you would like to use, right? Some good strategies before going into the exam, right? So that is where we will stop for today. I really hope that you have enjoyed this class, and I hope that you have learned something from this lesson. Please remember to share, please remember to like the video, and please remember to subscribe, right? And I certainly wish you all the best on your exam next week. And as I said before, I really hope this video reaches you in time. And all the best until we meet again. Blessings.